A cell is the smallest unit of life. Large amounts of different cells create all of the living things we come across, including ourselves. In complex organisms such as humans, there are about 37 trillion cells that allow us to live and perform daily life tasks. To get a better look at the building blocks of life, we'll be taking you on a tour around the animal cell, the plant cell, and the bacterial cell.
To begin the tour of the cell, we will begin with the animal cell. An animal cell is the smallest unit that makes up the various complex tissues of animal species. Animal cells are eukaryotic, just like the plant cells we will be touring later on in this video. Hundreds of animal cell types, such as red blood cells and skin cells, work together and perform necessary functions to sustain the animal's life. First off, we will visit the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is the outermost layer of the animal cell that contains and protects the contents within. It also has the important job of regulating the passage of molecules in and out of the cells. All living cells have a plasma membrane. Once passing through the plasma membrane, we will find ourselves in the cytoplasm. It is a jelly-like substance that fills up the cell and is enclosed by the membrane. It is responsible for the cell's shape and keeps the many organelles of the cell in their place. One of the most important organelles is the nucleus. The presence of a nucleus is what differentiates eukaryotic cells from prokaryotic cells. The nucleus is a highly specialized organelle that serves as the information processing and administrative center of the cell. It stores the cell's hereditary material, known as DNA, and coordinates the cell's activities, including protein synthesis. Similar to the plasma membrane, the nucleus has a nuclear envelope that is composed of a phospholipid bilayer. The envelope has pores that enable and regulate material, including RNA, that enter and exit the nucleus. There is a gathering of proteins that line the inner surface of the nuclear envelope called the nuclear lamins. It forms part of the karyoskeleton that anchors chromatin. Heterochromatin is one of the forms of DNA found in the nucleus of the cells that are less active or not active. It reflects the level of activity in the cell and is accumulated throughout the nucleus. On the other hand, euchromatin is a form of DNA found prevalent in cells that are active in the transcription of their genes. Spliceosomes are important structures found in the nucleus composed of several RNAs and other proteins. They ligate the coding regions of RNA with the excision of introns. Within the nucleus, there is a structure called the nucleolus that assists in the synthesis of ribosomes and is the site of rRNA transcription and processing. Chromatin is also found in the nucleus. It is a massive genetic information material composed of DNA and proteins that condense to form chromosomes during the cell division process. The endoplasmic reticulum is found near the nucleus. It is the transport system of the cell and is responsible for transporting molecules that need to be altered or need to be moved into their destination. It also aids in the production and storage of proteins. The endoplasmic reticulum can be divided into two types, smooth and rough. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes bound to it, while the smooth endoplasmic reticulum has no ribosomes. Ribosomes are tiny organelles composed of RNA and protein. They are found in the cytoplasm of all living organisms and bind mRNA to tRNA to synthesize polypeptides and proteins. Centrosomes are also found near the location of the nucleus. They are small molecules with a thick centers with radiating tubes that produce microtubules. Microtubules are straight hollow cylinders that are found throughout the cytoplasm that primarily support the structure of the cell. Another structure responsible for maintaining the cell shape are microfilaments. They are long solid rods that are made up of actin. The intermediate filament also plays a big role in structure. The intermediate filaments, microtubules, and microfilaments make up the cytoskeleton of the cell. The cytoskeleton is a network created out of its three components that gives living cells shape and coherence. Intermediate filaments are especially found in animal cells. It is more permanent and is unable to assemble and disassemble quickly, unlike its other components. It is responsible for resisting tension, maintaining the cell shape, and keeping the organelles in their place. Secondly, microtubules are the largest component out of the three. It is able to assemble and disassemble quickly and allows the cell to have resistance against compression forces. It also guides the motor proteins kinesin and dynein. Lastly, the microfilaments, also known as actin filaments, are the narrowest among the three and resembles the shape of a double helix. It serves as a guide and pathway for substances in the process of transporting. Vacuoles are membrane-bound organelles that are involved in maintaining shape and storing food, water, waste, and more. They play many more roles, such as isolating harmful materials and maintaining internal pH. Yet another important organelle in the cell is the Golgi apparatus, the distribution and shipping department for the cell's chemical products. It modifies the proteins and fat built in the endoplasmic reticulum and prepares them for export to the outside of the cell. The Golgi vesicle, a membrane-bound body that forms the apparatus, contains proteins like digestive enzymes. It eventually migrates to the plasma membrane to discharge contents through a process of exocytosis. The secretory vesicle mediates the vascular transport of cargo from organelle to specific sites of the membrane. It docks and fuses to release the content through the plasma membrane and out of the cell. Microbodies such as peroxisomes and lysosomes function to help the body break down larger molecules and get rid of harmful substances. These broken down structures become simpler compounds that can be transferred to the cytoplasm as new cell building material. The last stop in the animal cell is the mitochondria. They are oblong-shaped organelles that are found in the cytoplasm of all eukaryotic cells that serve as the main power generators. Mitochondria convert oxygen and nutrients into ATP, which powers the cell's metabolic activities. These numerous components are all important and crucial in maintaining the cell's life. Next, we will be touring the plant cell, which is similar yet different from an animal cell in many ways.
Plant cells and animal cells differ by the absence or the presence of different organelles. Plant cells also have a plasma membrane that protects the cell and regulates what comes in and what goes out. However, plant cells also have a cell wall that provides the cell rigidity and structural support. The most important characteristic of plants is their ability to photosynthesize, in effect to make their own food by converting light energy into chemical energy. Photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are green because of the pigment chlorophyll, which reflects green light and absorbs other colors. Light-dependent reactions take place in the thylakoids. A stack of thylakoids is called a granum. Multiple stacks are called grana. Light-independent reactions take place in the stroma, the fluid space surrounding the grana, inside the chloroplast. The endoplasmic reticulum is a network of sacs, manufactures, processes, and transports chemical compounds for use inside and outside of the cell. It is connected to the double-layered nuclear envelope, providing a pipeline between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. In plants, the endoplasmic reticulum also connects cells via the plasmadesmata. Ribosomes translate the genetic code from molecular language of the nucleic acid to that of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. All living cells contain ribosomes, tiny organelles composed of approximately 60% RNA and 40% protein. The nucleus is a membrane-enclosed organelle found in eukaryotic cells. It contains most of the cell's genetic material, organized as multiple long linear DNA molecules in a complex with a large variety of proteins to form chromosomes. The nucleolus is a structure found in the nucleus of the cells, and it forms around specific chromosomal regions in the nucleus of eukaryotic cells. It is made up of proteins and ribonucleic acids. Its main function is to transcribe RNA and combine it with proteins to form incomplete ribosomes. The nucleolus occupies about 25% of the volume of the cell's nucleus. The function of the nucleus is to maintain the integrity of these genes and to control the activities of the cell by regulating gene expression. The nucleus is, therefore, the control center of the cell. The main role of the mitochondria is the production of ATP. High-energy molecules transport the electrons down chain in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Oxygen accepts the electrons, creating water and 32 ATP molecules. Although the mitochondria is not the main method of energy for the plant, it is used during cell respiration. Cell respiration is done by oxidizing the major products of glucose, pyruvate and NADH, which are produced in the cytosol. This type of cellular respiration is known as aerobic respiration. It is dependent on the presence of oxygen. When oxygen is limited, the glycolytic products will be metabolized by anaerobic fermentation, a process that is independent of the mitochondria. This process happens 24 hours a day. All of these are contained within the endomembrane system, with the exception of the membrane and the cell wall. It is composed of different membranes that are suspended in the cytoplasm. These membranes divide the cell into functional and structural compartments. It acts as a unit that communicates by the transfer of materials and membranes by vessels.
Bacteria are prokaryotes lacking well-defined nuclei and membrane-bound organelles, and with chromosomes composed of a single closed DNA circle. They come in many shapes and sizes, from minute spheres, cylinders, and spiral threads to flagellate rods and filamentous chains. They are found practically everywhere in the world. Bacteria that have to consume and break down complex organic compounds are heterotrophs. This includes species that are found in decaying material as well as those that utilize fermentations or respiration. Bacteria that create their own energy fueled by light or through chemical reactions are autotrophs. Some species of bacteria have a third protective covering along with the cell wall and the cell membrane, a capsule made of polysaccharides, which are complex carbohydrates. Capsules play a number of roles, but the most important are to keep the bacterium from drying out and to protect it from phagocytosis, which is being engulfed by larger microorganisms. The capsule is a major virulence factor in the major disease-causing bacteria, such as E. coli. The cytoplasm or protoplasm of bacterial cells is where the functions for cell growth, metabolism, and replication are carried out. It is a gel-like matrix composed of water, enzyme, nutrients, waste, and gases. Many species of bacteria have piles, small hair-like projections emerging from the outside cell surface. These outgrowths assist the bacteria in attaching to other cells and surfaces, such as teeth, intestines, and rocks. While piles, many disease-causing bacteria lose their ability to infect because they are unable to attach to host tissues. Specialized piles are used for conjugations, during which two bacteria exchange fragments of plasmid DNA. Bacterial ribosomes are never bound to other organelles, as they sometimes are bound to endoplasmic reticulum in eukaryotes, but are freestanding structures distributed throughout the cytoplasm. The nucleoid is a region of cytoplasm where the chromosomal DNA is located. It is not a membrane-bound nucleus, but simply an area of cytoplasm where the strands of DNA are found. Most bacteria have a single circular chromosome that is responsible for replication, although a few species do have two or more. Smaller circular auxiliary DNA strands called plasmid are also found in the cytoplasm.
This concludes the tour of the animal cell, plant cell, and bacteria cell. There are hundreds of different cell types that make up life. By examining 3 common cells, we now have a better understanding of many different components of each cell and how each structure takes part in creating what we know as life.